Watch this if you're a woman to learn why you should probably go on a bulk.
Our next caller is Susanna from Florida.
Susanna, what's happening? How can we help you?
Hey, y'all. Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking my question. I truly trust and respect all three of you. And so I appreciate you taking the time to kind of help me see what's going on here. I also want to say that I appreciate everything you do. I've struggled with body image issues for my entire life. And y'all have started my journey on overcoming those. So I really, really appreciate that. It's been one of the biggest blessings. So I appreciate y'all and everything you do.
Thank you.
That's great to hear.
Okay, so I'll get started with my question. I'm going to be reading it off from a screen, but in the big picture, I'm relatively new in my fitness journey. Thankfully, my husband introduced me to y'all 2 years ago, and I've been an avid listener ever since, and truly become a fitness fanatic. I started focusing more on strength training when I found y'all, and have been following some of your programs on and off for like the last year and a half. In early February, I decided to hire a personal trainer for a few reasons. One, to help me with my technique. Two, to push me. I don't think I was progressively overloading well. And then also to fine tune my nutrition. So after talking with her, we decided that my goals were probably to cut down and start leaning out heading into summer. That's what I was hoping for. So in February, that was like the very, very first week of February, we did a body scan, and it calculated that my total daily energy expenditure is about 2,300 calories. So because my goals were to cut down, I was advised to eat in a 500 calorie deficit. So I did that, and I've been sticking to it religiously. 2 weeks ago, we did another scan, which would be almost 2.5 months since the first one. And the results were a 3-pound increase in muscle mass, which I was excited about, a 1 pound loss of fat, which increased my total weight 2 pounds, but there was a 0% change in body fat percentage. So a few questions based off of that. How trustworthy are these scans? Is it a reliable form of evaluation for myself? Can you help me make sense of what is happening versus what should be happening with what I'm doing? And what is your advice moving forward with the goals that I have?
Okay, great question.
Lots of good stuff here, too.
Very good. Okay, so how reliable are they? They're reliable to look at when you're trying to determine trends. Mm-hmm. They're not reliable when you're trying to get an exact number of how much fat or muscle you've gained or lost with one test.
Or technically how many calories you should be eating.
Definitely not when it comes to calories. Definitely not. They're going to give you a general estimate, but boy, you know, someone your age and, you know, and activity level, like I've met people whose caloric intake could be 1,000 calories up or down, depending on the individual. So the way I would like to, and the way I know that my co-hosts here like to determine someone's caloric intake is by having them track for a while, and whether if they gained or lost weight or stayed the same, then we'll determine what their baseline is based off of that. Okay. So not saying that this isn't a good starting point, but it's a very general estimate, and it's not going to give you any specifics with calories. But yeah, as far as gaining and losing, what you want to do is you want to do repeated tests every 2 to 4 weeks, and then notice a trend. If it's moving upward with body fat or downward after several tests, you know that, okay, the trend is showing that I'm gaining body fat, or I'm losing body fat, or I'm building muscle, or I'm losing muscle. Now it can become more reliable. But I also like to combine it with other signals. Like, for example, in that period of time, how was your strength in the gym? Did it go up, down, or stay the same?
It went up a lot.
A lot. Okay. Then I would probably believe that you gained that muscle that it says. If you saw significant strength gains, then I would agree that it's probably accurate. The other thing is, you know, your body weight went up a little bit because you built more muscle than you lost body fat. But those scans, they have a tougher time measuring water weight and subtracting that from lean body mass. They do to an extent, but it's, again, there can be a little bit off here or there. How did your clothes fit? How did you look in the mirror? Were people like your husband or people you trust saying things like, "Oh my God, you look like," yeah? Because I used to get this all the time with clients where the weight doesn't change on the scale, or maybe goes up a little bit, but they'd come back to me and be like, you know what? Like 4 people came up to me and have said, I look like I lost 10 pounds, even though my weight hasn't changed. Were you getting any comments like that? Or did you notice in the mirror, oh, I'm actually looking a lot different
Clothes
than the
fitting
scale?
differently,
Yeah.
This may go back to the body image issues that I have, but I wasn't loving how I'm looking in the mirror. Like, I feel like I've got a layer of fluff that I like. I guess you call it a little layer of fluff, but my clothes were starting to fit a little bit tighter. But my husband, he loves my body anyhow. So he obviously thinks I look great, but I wasn't liking how big I was looking.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't trust your opinion with the visual. Trust. Are there people in your life that you trust that could tell you you're going in the right or the wrong direction?
Right.
Like, if your husband's trustworthy in the sense that he's like, man, you look healthy, like you're looking like this is working, then I would listen to him rather than, what you may see in the mirror. And then if that connects to or correlates what the scan is showing with a muscle gain plus strength gain plus some fat loss or a little bit of fat loss, then I would believe that you're moving in the right direction.
Do you add any circumference measurements? I know sometimes that helps, at least for you to see any kind of trends of size, or something in your arms or your legs or somewhere else, or your stomach even, that you may be able to assess that a little bit better in terms of like how your body's kind of shifting and transitioning composition wise. But two, was this a DEXA scan or was this like a bioelectric impedance? Because they're not all equal in terms of like what kind of data they're going to provide you. Like there's like 3 that I would even like consider like are pretty consistent in terms of like the data they provide you with the bod pod, the hydrostatic weight, and then DEXA scan. But other than that, I mean, I honestly, like the bioelectric impedance, I tend to like not even use that in conversation.
What did you use?
It's called a Staiku.
I'm not familiar.
Did you grab handles? Did you stand on it? What did you do?
I stood on a rotating platform, and it was like a projection kind of thing coming out of it.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Look it up for me, Doug.
Yeah.
It might be like a DEXA.
It's new, yeah.
Nonetheless, I mean, I'd still default back to what kind of Sal said. I don't care how accurate something is. I still only use that as like a gauge to give me an idea. Sure. I want to actually comment on the strategy that I would have done with you here. So for 2.5 months, we put you in a calorie deficit. Even though your goal is to lean out for summer and fat loss, I actually would have increased your calories and focused on building strength and muscle first. Because you had 2.5 months, and part of the reason why I think you only built a couple pounds of muscle is because probably half the time you were in a deficit. And so it's really hard for the body to build muscle while you're also in a caloric deficit.
She obviously did if she lost body fat too.
I know, but so you did, which is exceptional. You did a great job, and what you're doing is probably not bad. It's just going to be a slower pace. I think what would have been faster for us, although it would have taken some mental discipline to do this, is I would have liked to have tried to increase your calories for those 2.5 months. And then right about now, you and I would be talking about, you'd be telling me, Adam, I put on 5 or 6 pounds. And I'm like, don't worry. We got way stronger. Most of that was muscle. Now let's cut your calories from this new calorie maintenance and let's watch you really lean out a lot faster. So that's, I would have done strategically. I would have probably approached this a little bit different than you guys did. It doesn't mean what I'm not. This isn't like me hating on the trainer. Or
you
saying
still did well.
Yeah, you did well. But it's hard for clients when it moves this slow. You think you're doing something wrong or bad, but when you do a caloric deficit like that, when your metabolism is only your maintenance is only around 2,000 or so, cutting 500 calories. Yeah, do the math. Like you really shouldn't expect that much body fat and that much muscle gain over that much time. It's just a slow process. And if you got the discipline to stay that course, you'll probably continue to see good results. Personally, I would have rather taken an approach where we like aggressively try and bulk and put on muscle and accept that we might add 5 to 7 pounds. I'm not worried about that because we're building the metabolism right now, and then get you to a place more like 2,800 calorie range, and then cut you all the way back down to say 21, 22, and watch your body really start to move as far as body fat loss.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually do a reverse diet now. And do a slight bulk right now and start to do kind of what Adam's talking about. Yeah, I like what Adam said a lot. I think that might be the best. That would be the approach that I would take with you for my client. And then, to what Justin said about circumference measurements, The reason why that's a good idea also is because your like women's clothes in particular, well, men's clothes too, but women's clothes in particular are not designed for women with muscle. So you might lose like size around your waist, but you built your butt and hamstrings a little bit. So now all your pants feel tighter. Oh my God, I'm getting fatter, right? You may stand up a little taller now because your mid back is more developed. So now your shirts feel tighter around your shoulders. Oh no, I'm getting bigger. No, actually your posture changed and you're developing a little bit of side delt or whatever. So I like circumference measurements because you can measure and be more specific rather than based off of like, you know, Adam, Justin, or I, we go to a clothing store, we take a suit off the rack. I have to buy a size that's for someone who's obese, in order for it to fit, you know, my body. But I'm obviously not obese, right? So that would be the other thing that I would say to focus on. But I think a bulk would be great for you right now.
Yeah, what I would do too is I would bump your calories up. You know, say we were at 17 right now, so I'd probably go up to like a 2,200 calorie or so around there. Stick with that for about 2 weeks. It's okay to use the body fat thing. The thing that will really skew those is the time and day you do them, and if you're fed and water in you. So if you use those things, be very consistent about the time of day that you, and so ideally I always say first thing in the morning if you can, with no food, no water in you.
Stomach.
Because that will give you the most consistency around the average. And then don't get hung up if it says I'm 35 or 24% body, but more or less, okay, we've decided now we're going to increase calories and try and build strength. Where did it go from the starting point? So like wherever you're at now or the last test you've taken, now let's try and increase calories, focus on building strength. And then when you say you measure in 2 weeks, let's see what it says then. And hopefully if we did a good job, you're putting on a lot more muscle than you are body fat. And then that means we're right on line with the course. If you're not putting any muscle on or really body fat, then we probably could increase the calories even more to continue to build. Okay. If you put on more body fat than you do muscle, we added too much calories too fast, and then we come the other way. And that's how I would use that.
Okay, I see.
All right. Yep.
I was wondering if what happened, because I was a chronic restrictor, like for the first 25 years of my life, I was wondering if I had just like shot my metabolism too much and I maybe need to focus more on rebuilding that or really building it from scratch since I kind of had messed myself up. So I was wondering if I bought the reverse diet guide.
Oh, good.
And I've looked at it. But I didn't really have a good starting point of what even is my maintenance because I tracked and I felt like I wasn't able to really evaluate where even my starting point was.
It sounds like you're pretty close to it right now. So I think we have a good enough.
I go 300 to 500 up from where you're at.
We have a good baseline where you're at right now. And I think your intuition is right. If you were a chronic undereater for a really long time, also keep that in mind that it's going to take us a little bit. It's not like a switch, right? Where you were a chronic undereater for most of your life. All of a sudden you decide you're going to start adding calories and then all of a sudden, wham, the body's going to respond beautifully. Be patient. We'll go slow, 100 calories at a time, trying to increase it. And just keep, testing every couple of weeks to make sure we're on the right track.
You're young, and usually someone your age, did you mess up your metabolism? I mean, probably not. I mean, could there be some, something that needs to take a while, maybe, but at your age, probably not. A better indicator of that would be like your hormones, your energy. Do you get your period regularly? If you're on birth control, that can mask a lot of that and it'll be hard to tell. Yeah. But typically with a 20-something-year-old young woman, those are the questions I'm asking. Now, if she comes to me and says, I haven't got my period in a while, my hair is brittle, my skin and nails I don't have good energy, I've got gut issues, then I'd say, okay, we need to focus on all that stuff first before we even look at like getting your metabolism to boost and all that stuff. Like, so if any of that's resonating, but you look pretty healthy. Do you have any of those issues or do you feel like, I'm otherwise pretty good?
I did have those issues. And then when I started listening to y'all, it was particularly the Why Women Should Bulk episode. When I started listening and applying these things, my hair started growing more than it ever has before. I feel more energetic. I was having those like afternoon slumps where I needed some sort of caffeine, and I don't need that at all anymore. Like I feel the healthiest I've ever been. So what I want is to be able to look and like reveal those muscles and, show off in a swimsuit. But that's like, I know those are surface level goals.
That's all right.
So, but the fact that I feel healthy, like I really do feel like I'm the healthiest I've ever been.
You're
So
on the right track.
Yeah, reverse
you're,
diet.
You're on the right track.
I'd go reverse diet right
Your
now, for
intuition is right. You're on the right track. You're doing great. Be patient with yourself. That's all. I think you're kicking ass right. You know what? Let's get you in the forum too, so we can check up on you. All right. I'm gonna have Doug. I'm gonna have Doug put you in the forum. Keep us posted on the reverse diet. Let us know how it's going. At one point, you'll probably ask us, okay, I've been doing this for a while now. My calories are here. Is it time for me to start to lean out? We'll be able to give you some better advice if you keep us posted.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much.
You guys,
All right.
thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Bye-bye. How crazy is it? How many young women were impacted by that episode?
Oh, I know. It's so great to hear, dude, because it's so needed. Like, it's not a message that's out very often.
No, not just needed. It's crazy how many young women go for so long with, hurting themselves because they're eating too little because that's what they think they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And thankfully we did that episode and it reached a certain number of people. And, okay, great. You got to eat more and you're stronger. But what we keep hearing is my hair grew, my skin came back, my nails started growing, my period came back, my energy, my depression was lifted. Like, I love hearing that stuff. It's really
it's
awesome.
the best.
Yeah, she's actually doing really good.
Yeah, she is.
Considering that if she was a chronic undereater for that long and she was suffering from all those things, and she's now able to say the things out of her mouth, I feel the healthiest I've ever been in my life, at 27 years old. That's such a good sign that you're moving in the right direction. The aesthetics will come. You just need to stick with that, continuing down that path. That's why I think if she hired me in February and I asked all those questions, I know nobody in here would have been like, hey, let's put you on a cut now. It's like, okay, you just started feeling really healthy. Let's keep actually increasing calories. Let's get strong.
Keep riding it out for a
yeah,
while.
let's keep going the direction you're going. And then we'll get to a point where we can start to, cut calories. I mean, I think that she can continue on the reverse diet and actually lean out while she does it.
So do I.
Sure.
Yeah.